Sorry I ain't been uploading in a few days, fellas. Been having a lot going on. Still getting over this sickness. But for the most part, it's gone. I haven't had my shop, so I ain't been able to pull the intake and heads off the race car engine. Because my brother's been using the shop working on his Isuzu Trooper 3.5 liter, changing heads and timing belt and a bunch of stuff on it. And but I'm gonna take you through with me today on this Ford Ranger I got, 3.0 liter 4-wheel drive, and we're gonna completely bypass the 4-wheel drive system, the solenoid, and put it all on toggle switches, because there is no 4-wheel drive in it right now like there used to be. And being wintertime, I kind of need it and be able to get it out and into the back junkyard and stuff. Would make it nice to be inside something warm rather than driving the tractor out there. Anyways, what we're gonna do is the computer that I put into it. It's an older computer for a 2-wheel drive. So I don't have the 4-wheel drive right now. So what I'm gonna do is just bypass it and make it manually go into 4-wheel drive between the electric motor on the transfer case and the 4-wheel drive solenoid for the automatic locking hubs up front. And I'll take you along and show you how I'm doing that. Alright, first thing I gotta do is hook up a power station, so to speak, here from my battery that can power the toggle switches. Come on, camera, turn around. Hey. So I found this wire in the back shop. I got 2 toggle switches to power. Has 2 wires already. So this is gonna work perfect. I'm gonna bolt this right to my battery. Zoop, like so. Alright fellas, this is where I'm at so far. I got it bolted down to the battery, powered, and running up through here. Wires just twisted together and heat shrinked. Got it going through a hole down there in the floorboard. Coming up right through there, going up in the dash to the radio area, and coming out right here. Toggle switches are gonna go right here. One for the 4-wheel drive motor, a 3-way for the 4-wheel drive motor, and then a toggle switch for the solenoid for locking, the automatic locking hubs. And that's where we're at right now. Alright fellas, let's see what I can do here, try to get a better picture. I'm laying underneath the truck looking at the back of the transfer case and the motor. These 2 wires right here that come out of the main harness that plugs into the electric motor for the transfer case, these are the ones that matter. Power to one side makes it go up the 2-wheel drive. Power to the other side makes it go up to 4 high and then to 4 low. So hook 1 power wire to each side and run it up to the toggle switch, the 3-way toggle switch. And that's what we're going to be doing right now. Alright fellas, this isn't working out how I wanted it to at all, and it's just going to make it way too confusing. Let me explain. Now I could take the battery cable and our battery jumper cables, hook them up to the batteries, right? And then I take the other end of the jumper cables and I touch it to the wires, and positive on one side, negative on the other side, and it'll turn that motor one way. Then if I flip the negative and positive around, it'll turn the motor the other way. And on one toggle switch, I can't have a ground and a positive, I don't think, on each side. So I'm not really sure. I mean, maybe I could put a ground and a positive on both sides, but I don't want to fry anything or mess anything up. I think the best thing I'm going to do is just either try and find a way to access this ECU and change it to four-wheel drive, or just get a different ECU that already is set up for four-wheel drive. Because this is just, it's too difficult for my brain right now. I can't think right. Just getting over this sickness. I mean, I can make a million excuses, but what's the point? It's just too much for me right now to mess with this, try to figure this out this way. Just gonna, most likely, the easiest thing for me to do is just grab another 97 computer that's already set up for four-wheel drive and manual transmission. But I do have the cable now, the Elm 327, that will talk to this computer. Whether or not I can come up with the software is a whole nother story. I've seen a few of them out there, but it's not like, you know, in HP tuners I can adjust stuff like that, but HP tuners doesn't have this ECU in their system. It's not compatible. So there's nothing I can do pretty much with Fords with HP tuners. I mean, it does a few Fords, but nothing in this year or this motor or this vehicle at all. So I think I've checked out a place that guarantees 1 year 1 year warranty on the ECUs, and they make sure it's all updated, they're refurbished, and they have one exactly the one I need for like $155 free shipping. So I may just save up and go that route if I can't talk to this computer, because right now I can't. With the HP tuners, I can't talk to this computer. It won't open it at all. So I guess that's where I'm sitting at right now with this project. Brother just got here. He's back in there working on his Trooper 3.5 liter, trying to get the timing set properly. I might bring you in there and show you a little bit of that. We'll see here in a minute after I get this mess cleaned up. Howdy y'all, and Merry Christmas. I didn't get a chance to show you my brother's truck, unfortunately. He had it done and out of the shop before I got a chance to show you what was going on. He had reset his exhaust cam on that 3.5 Isuzu Trooper because he had replaced the exhaust cam and the intake cam, and had the intake cam set up correctly, but we're looking at the wrong dot to set up the exhaust cam. When it got put on, it went on a single dot instead of a double dot. And on the driver's side, you set up those cams with the double dots facing down at the center cam holder. I don't know what you call that. It's just a short gear that's down in the between that both the cams sit on, and that gear rotates with those cams. And there's dots on that center cam, and both of those have to point the double dots at the center cam. It's weird how it's set up, but it works. So it's all back running good, and I just finished sort of cleaning up the shop here. I'll show you. I got the drag car back in, and motor sitting over there. I still got a couple things to put away, like my welding helmet, welding jacket and stuff, and that little welder that's over there. We had to weld the back of a nut. The back of the nut that was actually already welded on to his front underneath cover that covers the bottom of the engine, like a skid plate. And the nut, the weld that was holding the nut broke off, so I had to weld it back on for him. But we're gonna get back on the drag car now. I gotta get that intake off, get those heads off, and then I got to get these heads cleaned up and replace the springs on them, And I don't have a Dremel right now because my Dremel burned up my die grinder. So, and the other die grinder I got has too big of a hole in the end for my die grinders, my dies that goes in it. So it won't work with the ones that I have, and I don't have the money to get any more right now. So it's gonna have to wait to be ported. So I'm just gonna clean it up real good. I've had a few dry days, so I should have some sand out there that's dry I can put in the sandblaster. And I'll pick a day that's in the 50s, like today. Today is in the 50s and sunny, no winds, beautiful out right now. This is all parts off the 454. My son just was tearing apart. He's taking out of the motor home, and that's what he's putting in his drag cars, that 454. He's looking at some aftermarket heads instead of using the ones that are on there. And we're not using the fuel injection. We're going to get a carbureted intake to throw on there, and we're going to get the same type of ignition system that I got for the drag car. That I only paid $150 for the entire ignition system, the coil, the distributor, the wires, and everything that went with it. And so it'll be the same style as that. That way we can run the wires ourselves and don't have to worry about a computer. So it's coming, guys. We're almost there. I just got to get those other heads done. That really sucks, because after all the work I did on these heads, I really wanted to use them. But I screwed up with the head bolts, or the head studs. Nothing I can do about that now. I mean, I could technically drill and tap for 1/2-inch studs. Then I'm gonna have to pay another $150, $200 for studs again, and I don't have that kind of money, so it ain't happening. So it's just gonna use those heads over there unported. I will, however, be able to lap the valves. So the valves will get all cleaned up and lapped, and I'll change the springs on them. And so I'll have the springs that'll be able to handle this cam. And the only thing that may be a problem after all the money I just paid for those trick flow push rods, those may be the wrong size now. Don't know. Not until I can get the other heads on here and see and check to see if they'll work or not. It'll really suck if they won't, but they are shorter than the stock ones, so I'm thinking they might, since they're going to be going on the same kind of head. I mean, it's 302 head, just different year. I'm hoping that those will still work out there. So we'll find out. But when I get to taking the intake and head off and stuff, I'll show you guys. And it just sucks. I already brand new gaskets, just sealed them. Now I'm going to have to be real careful I don't ruin them when I take it off, and then reseal them again. That's the only thing that really bothers me more than anything else, is having to take that stuff off, the intake especially. But oh well, it is what it is, and we're gonna get her done. Again, Merry Christmas, y'all. All right, fellas, here we go. I got all the head bolts loose and all the intake bolts off. The part I've been dreading, and that is breaking loose the well sealed stuff that I have sealed up. Sad, 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 but I gotta do it, so here goes. Man, I think the good Lord's watching out for me. It's a darn good thing I took this engine back apart again. Even though I had a rag covering all the holes and I was blowing it all out with the air compressor, somehow metal particles still found a way inside this engine. Look at that. That is horrible. Now, how that happened when I was covering all the holes with rags. That's crazy. But it's apart now, and now it can get cleaned out, and we can get the new heads and the intake back on again. Here we go, guys. Alright fellas, I got one head stripped down for now, but I think that's about all I'm going to do tonight. I'll get the other head over here, I'll show you. Got all the springs off, and I got all the seals off with the locks and everything, and the retainers and valve seals, you know. Got them all set up there in order for exhaust intake. Yeah, I'll get the other head over here and set up and ready, and that's probably all I'll do for tonight. But I mean, I got a fire and everything over there going, but yeah, you can see the red glowing through. But that's all I'm probably gonna do for tonight. Just a little sore and getting wore out, but we're gonna get there. I know we went backwards instead of forwards, which really sucks, but you know, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do to make sure you do something right. And the other heads, I know they'll work. I just hope, since they already got the pre-pressed in studs, that these springs won't pull them out. That's the only thing. I may be right back in the same boat again. I've heard a lot of horror stories about these pressed in studs like this. So, you know, all I can do is clean it up really good. Maybe drop some Loctite around the bottom of the stud. Maybe some of it'll seep down in there, help hold them in. I don't know. But I got to get these valve springs off, get these heads cleaned up and painted, get the studs that's left in out for the intake, put my studs in, my new ones that I got, and get these heads slapped back down and bolted down on there and sealed with some copper spray. Get these valves lapped. Yeah, it's a little bit more work now, but we're gonna get there, guys. We really are. It's just gonna take a little more time than what I planned on, but I really need to get this done because my son wants to get his engine in here, his 454, and start tearing that down. So on a little bit of a time crunch, but nothing that's serious, you know. And Merry Christmas.